So what made the biggest difference for you going from 0 to 5 figures a month? That's a huge question for people.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, you think about 5 figures and it seems like it's far away, right? Like it's a lot of work to get there. The reality is that the most difficult work is just getting from 0 to making any money at all, like $500, $1,000, $100. Because once you've done that, the steps to actually get to $10,000 a month are not that much farther off. Like you're actually doing the same thing to make $100 as you are to make $10,000 a month. You're just doing it at a different scale, and it's overcoming the initial insecurities. It's overcoming the initial learning curve. It's sort of developing and building the initial skill sets, which are all incredibly simple things to do. It's stuff like using Facebook or setting up an ad or things that you don't need to go to years of engineering school to learn. I mean, it's incredibly basic stuff. But yet, when we don't know what it is, I think our mind makes it into more difficult than it is. And it's just sort of, having the willingness and the drive and the desire and the commitment to learn whatever you need to learn and go through whatever you need to go through. That's what makes the biggest difference. And that leads you to making your first $1,000. And from there, $10,000 is not much farther away. It's literally just a matter of scale. So to me, all I really did was, I didn't even focus on the money. I just sat down and I was so dedicated to learning the skills required to succeed and to just taking action. Every day I was like frantic and just fanatic about taking action. And I did. And all of a sudden I turned around and looked at the trail behind me, and I had made a bunch of money. I mean, that's really what happened. So I didn't even focus on the money. I focused on what actions do I need to be taking every single day that are going to get me more leads, and how am I going to introduce more of those leads into a business that pays me money. And that's all I focused on. And within about 8 months, I was doing $10,000 plus a month. So
awesome.
That's what happened.
So let's wrap this up. What's your biggest piece of advice in our last minute or two?
Yeah, good question, Laurie. I would say that, my biggest piece of advice, and it's the one thing that has gotten me through everything. It's the only reason I'm here, truly. Because the first 9 months of my business were so miserable, really, that it's almost like no human being really wants to subject themselves to that over the long term. And the one thing that got me through it truly was my why. It was, what's the reason I have to do this that is so much greater than the pain it takes to succeed, or the challenges that I have to go through. What reason do I have to do this that forces me to become a better human being, that forces me to look at my insecurities, that all the beliefs I have about myself that are stopping me from taking action, that are stopping me from moving forward. Why do I do this that makes it impossible to really quit? And when you find that reason, it'll happen. I mean, everything just happens when you find that reason, because true success is simply never quitting. That's what success is. It's just a matter of time. And just like you, Laurie, I mean, Laurie has her black belt, for gosh sakes, and she doesn't share that, I don't think, enough, but she spent almost a decade, kicking guys' butts, practicing moves in order to get that black belt. But you were sharing with me earlier today how there's so many times in that 10 years where you don't feel like practicing that day, you don't feel like working, but you do anyway. And that's what leads to getting the result. That's what leads to mastering something. And the time it took her to get her black belt, she's going to have her black belt in business, way sooner than 10 years. So, yeah, that'd be my biggest piece of advice is, is find your why and stay the course. You know, learn from Laurie, follow Laurie.
Thank you so much, and that's the message that the reason why I did this interview too. Having Jonathan say all this, and I'll keep doing these interviews, is because it's out there for all of us. We can all do it, and just don't quit. Don't quit. Just keep moving. Whatever, crawling, whatever it is, you know.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely. And keep moving.
You know, it's beginner to bank. Everybody's a beginner at some point, and then you get to the bank. So, right?
Absolutely, my dear.
Thanks, everybody.